5 minutes of what he's doing. I'm like, okay, you don't have to tell me. Fine.
Bigger business for both of us to do.
Remain seated, close the session.
Are we waiting on standby counsel?
Yes, I called them and they said they were on their way.
Okay, very good.
Did the pizza just show up?
It did. Ronnie's cooking in his trunk right now. He's got a big family at home.
Is it Eddie and Sam? Can you call them and see where they are? Okay, thank you. All right, defendant is present, standby counsel is present, state is present. It's my understanding the jury's reached a verdict, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's bring the jury. both of them?
All rise, jury there.
All right, very good. Welcome back, members of the jury. Everyone have a seat. Mr. Cromley, it's my understanding the jury's reached a verdict, correct?
Yes.
Okay, if you hand the verdict form to the bailiff, who will hand it to me. Okay. I'd ask the clerk to please publish the verdict.
Yes, Judge. State of Florida versus Ronnie O'Neill III, case number 2018 CF 004019, verdict form, trial division 1. We, the jury, find as follows as the count 1 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder as charged. The defendant did actually possess and discharge a firearm causing death. We, the jury, find as follows as account 2 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder, premeditated murder, and felony murder. The defendant carried, displayed, used, threatened to use, or attempted to use a weapon. We, the jury, find as follows. The count 3 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of attempted first-degree murder as charged. The defendant carried, displayed, used, threatened to use, or attempted to use a weapon. We, the jury, find as follows. The count 4 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of arson of a dwelling as charged. We, the jury, find as follows. The count 5 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of aggravated child abuse as charged. We, the jury, find as follows. The count 6 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of aggravated child abuse as charged. We, the jury, find as follows. The count 7 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of resisting an officer without violence as charged. So say we all, dated this 21st day of June 2021. Foreperson of the jury, Russell Cromley.
All right, does either side wish to have the jury polled? Do you wish to have the jury polled? Does the defendant wish to have the jury polled?
I guess so.
Okay, the clerk could please poll the jury.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Luis Daly Rosado.
Your Honor, before we go through that, can we approach you real quick?
Yes, come on up. Okay, please poll the jury.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Luis Daly Rosado. Is this your true and correct verdict? Yes. Mr. Mark Douglas. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Mr. Russell Cromley. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Mr. Harold Waters. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Mr. Matthew Ebert. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Mr. Jeffrey Parker. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Ms. Nicole Stillwell. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Mr. Edward Storr. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Mr. Artemio Martin III. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Mr. David Van Hout. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Ms. Christy Wimmer. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
And Ms. Charlene Louise Charles. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
All right, very good. Thank you, members of the jury. So, now that you have found the defendant guilty of first-degree murder, that means we will be going into a penalty phase. However, I'm going to give you guys the day off tomorrow, all right? There's some things we need to do as far as to get ready for that phase of the trial, which will begin Wednesday at 9 a.m. I anticipate that we will be concluded by the end of this week. So you don't need to worry about that, but I'm going to give you guys the day off tomorrow, all right? So you can go tend to your personal affairs, do what you need to do, and then we'll see you back here Wednesday at 9 a.m. Since you are still serving as a juror in this case, however, the rules still apply. You can't talk to anyone about this case. You can't do any research about this case. You can't watch, listen to, read any news accounts related to this case. And that will be the rule until I discharge you completely as a juror. All right? So with that, I think the pizza did arrive. So I don't know if you want to grab a slice on your way out the door, but there is pizza back there. And we will see you all on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. All right? Thank you.
All rise.
Okay, everyone, have a seat. So, Mr. O'Neill, now that you have been found guilty of first-degree murder, we now go into penalty phase. And as you are aware, it gets no more serious for any defendant in any criminal courtroom in this country than what you are facing now. I respect the fact that you chose to represent yourself, and I have to tell you, I think in another lifetime, you would have been an excellent lawyer. I really think that. You speak with great passion. I understood exactly the points you were making. I knew what you were attempting to get across in your opening statement, your cross-examination of the state witnesses, the direct examination of your witnesses, and your closing argument. Ultimately, your arguments were not persuasive to the jury, but nonetheless, I was able to follow exactly what you were trying to accomplish. However, as we move into penalty phase, I'm really going to strongly encourage you to consider allowing counsel to now step in and represent you. This is a much more specialized and rare area of the law that very few practitioners really practice in, as far as truly understanding the aggravating factors the state has to establish. And now you would have a burden of proof with regards to the mitigators, whether they're statutory or non-statutory. You've got to come up with proof by greater weight of the evidence that the mitigators actually apply. And you would have to come up with not just applicable statutory mitigators, but any applicable non-statutory mitigators. And I'm quite confident that your standby counsel would have a much better grasp on what those potential non-statutory mitigators would be. So I want you just to think about it overnight. I don't want you to make a decision right now. I want you to give it some serious, serious consideration. All right?
Yes,
And we're going to reconvene at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we'll discuss it further, and you can tell me then. But I really, really want to strongly advise you to go ahead and let counsel represent you in the penalty phase, because the consequences are so serious. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Very good. That's all I asked. Just think about it. All right? All right. See you all at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Okay? Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. See you tomorrow. Now you go home and have dinner. I'd be crabby if I hadn't eaten all day.